My name is Tucker Johnson, and I am your host today as we experience NIMSY Live, where we talk about the latest and greatest in translation, localization, internationalization, culturalization, and all that fun stuff global companies need to delight their international customers, or at least not to piss them off too much. On this program, we invite guests who like to have fun and have some value to add for our audience of globalization professionals. I'm always eager to provide a platform to those with a good story or a good data set. So let us know if there are any topics you'd like covered or guests we should reach out to for future episodes. If you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to whatever platform you are watching this on. We are coming to you live today on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Maybe Twitch, I'm not sure. But wherever you're catching us, if you follow us or if you subscribe us to NIMSY Insights, then you will be one of the first to be notified when we publish schedule new live streams, or when we publish new research over at NIMSY Insights. We are a market research company specialized in the globalization industry. Let's see, I'm not going to go through a lot of plugs today. Normally I do some shameless plugs, but I'll save those for later. Just a quick introduction to the platform here. You see over here, we got comments. I'm going to be bringing those up on screen, taking them off screen. So if you have any questions or comments or would like to share your experience with the rest of the audience today, then make sure to be leaving those in the comments. LinkedIn is where most people will be joining us from, and there's a great community over there that's really active during these streams, so I encourage you to go check all of that out. Today's topic is we're talking about international exchange programs. Now, when I think of exchange programs, I think of like a high school exchange program. I did an exchange program when I was in college, for example, and I went and studied at a different school, and I got credits, or I should have gotten credits for all of the stuff that I did in school while I was in Germany. I'm back at my alma mater. And this is what we're talking about today is basically that, except replace school with language services provider. And we've got two ladies on the show today from Creative Words and Kobalt Languages, who are going to be talking about their experience running an exchange program between two different companies. First off, we have here next to me Daniela D'Amato, who has, if you've been watching this show since the beginning, she's one of our first guests that appeared on NIMSY Live. So many of you will recognize Daniela not just from previous NIMSY Live episodes, but she's very active in the industry. Daniela is operations manager working out of Italy for Creative Words. Many of you know Creative Words. It's her job to grow the company, manage all of the behind the scenes stuff, and basically take care of business over there. We've here at NIMSY, we've been working with Creative Words for a very long time. And for those of you that know Diego, hi Diego, I'm sure you're watching. But for those of you out there in the audience that know Diego, let's just say Daniela's the one that gets shit done. Diego's the ideas man, and which I can relate very much to because my business partner is Renato Beninato. No comment, no further comment on that. Next up, we have Myriam Garcia from Kobalt, and full disclosure, I typically steal intros for my script here from LinkedIn. But some people don't feel like posting English intros on their LinkedIn. So, licenciada en Traducción y Interpretación por la Universitat Pompeu Fabra. Posteriormente realice el Máster de Traducción Audiovisual en la Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona y el Máster de Formación del Profesorado de Secundario Obligatorio y Bachillerato, Formación Profesional y Enseñanza de Idiomas también en la Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona. So, so you're educated. You got some degrees. Ladies, anything that I missed in my intro here for you?
No, I think you said it all. Yeah.
Nice. Well, hopefully people out there speak better Spanish than I do. Well, let's just dive right in here. So we have Creative Words and Kobalt both represented here on this stream today. And the reason for that is because this is an exchange program that you guys have set up. And for those of you who have already received the latest issue of Multilingual Magazine, which I should do a quick plug on right now, we've got the very handsome bearded Wayne Borland on the cover. There is a full article in Multilingual about this endeavor. And whoops, I don't know what that's on screen for. There's a full intro on Multilingual about this, so this might be a little bit of a recap. But I want to just start by saying, Daniela, I'll start with you since you're next to me here.
Yeah.
How did this come about? Who had the idea? How did the conversations originally start to have an exchange program between your two companies?
Yeah, that was a nice story. It was Ricard, it was Myriam's boss, who came up with the idea, and he thought of a crazy person who could say yes to such a request. And so he thought of Diego, because if you know Diego, and I know you do, he is crazy enough to say yes to certain things.
Right.
So the crazy mind here was Ricard Sierra. He sent a text to Diego, just random quick words, do you want to do this? And he just replied in 10 minutes or so, yes. But he claims that 10 minutes was just because he was in another call, otherwise it would have taken him 10 seconds or so. So yeah, that was how the idea originated.
So it was a pretty like one and done kind of thing. Not a whole lot of debate going back and forth between you guys.
No, no.
So that's either means the idea wasn't as crazy as you thought it was, or it means Ricardo's just as crazy as Diego. One of those two things.
I think both of them. I don't know, Myriam, maybe you know more about how crazy Ricardo is.
I mean, he had the idea of being able to go to another company and just see how another company works, and you know, learn from them, and also maybe show them how we do things. So you know, learning firsthand from another person that has the same issues like we do. So yeah, the first person that he thought of was Diego, of course.
Of course.
Of
And we
course.
see Ricardo's in the comments here. He says he's taking all of the blame. He says, "It's me. I'm the problem. It's me."
Yeah.
So, I wanted to bring up on screen here. I mentioned the multilingual article here, and I wanted to bring it up on screen for those of you that maybe are not familiar with multilingual. We at multilingual, www.multilingual.com, and this is included in our the subscription package. So if you're a subscriber to the digital magazine, then you can access it from multilingual.com. If you're a subscriber to the print magazine, then you can access it over at then you can access it at your mailbox. You don't need to even log in for that, because we send out tens of thousands of copies to Multilingual every single month, and it is on page, oh my goodness, I'm not prepared here, page 48 in your latest Multilingual magazine. So go over and check that out. So the initial conversation started between Diego and Ricardo. When did you ladies get looped into this, and what was your role in setting this up?
I think it was quite soon, right, Myriam?
Yeah, probably some days after the first conversation, we just arranged a call, and I think it was the four of us, and
Yes.
then they just left us alone.
Yeah, they left us literally. They said,
Like,
okay, now your operations people can take it from here. We don't want to be bothered with the details.
Wow, man, it sounds. Yeah, like I said, I have a Diego and a Ricardo that I work with as well, so I can appreciate that as well. So, what were the first steps when we're talking about an exchange program? How many people were exchanged? What types of roles were exchanged? And what did that look like? Was it actually a physical exchange where people were going and sitting in different offices? So, you'd send a project manager to each other's company. Logistically, what did it look like?
So in this first exchange that we did, it was not an exchange per se, because what we did was to invite Daniela, who is the operations manager at Creative Words, and we also invited Francesca, who is the team lead.
Yep.
So we invited them to come to Kobalt Languages for 3 days and just spend time with us as if they were working with us. So they were also attending to meetings with us and also experiencing firsthand real life problems that we had, and also managing projects with the project managers that we have at Kobalt. That's what we did at the beginning.
And just to be clear, point of clarification for our audience, Kobalt is located in Spain and Creative Words is located in Italy. So this is literally a cross-border exchange.
Yeah, it was.
We had to book flights and everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they were they were actually sitting in your office. And how long were they there for?
For 3 days. Right?
3 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did the collaboration look like ongoing? And so there was the 3 days collaboration on site, but you guys have been working on this, because I remember talking to, I think you, Daniela, maybe it was Francesca. I remember talking to someone about this months and months and months ago, and you guys have had this really good cooperation going on for a while. So outside of just sending someone to an office to sit there for a few days, what does that collaboration look like?
Well, me and Myriam, for example, we meet every month. So since we're both operations managers, we just reach out every month. We catch up on what we've been doing at our own companies, and we give each other advice. And it's an ongoing cooperation that I really like, because, as you know, well, we've talked about it, Tucker, for a long time in the past. It's a lonely role, right? I mean, it can be lonely.
Diego, I don't do near as much on LinkedIn as I used to, but I poke around there every once in a while. And Diego posted this picture with Renato and Joseph, who I work with, the other day. I think they went over to his dinner, or his house for dinner, right?
Yes.
And he said in there, he says, it's good to meet up with other entrepreneurs, other founders, other CEOs, whatever, because it's lonely at the top, from a management level. And I think this is, just from my personal standpoint, this is a great value that companies could get out of having an exchange, not just at the project management level. I think there's a lot of value there, but at the senior leadership level. And although we don't call them exchanges, there's plenty of industry events, industry organizations, industry think tanks, associations, and you could think of those as just one big language exchange where everybody's getting together to share their knowledge, share how they add value to their clients, share their best practices, so that we can just learn from each other in the industry. And frankly, that's one thing that I've always just loved about this industry, is the spirit of co-opetition, as we call it, right? Exactly. So like, we're competing with each other, but are we? Because it's such a niche industry. You guys are servicing a certain set of clients for a certain set of needs over in Italy, and Myriam, you're servicing a different set of clients for a different set of needs. So we have all of these companies that, from an outsider's perspective, who perhaps doesn't understand the industry or is new to the industry, you would think, well, these guys are competitors, but really you're not. So that's the kind of thing that allows you guys to do stuff. It allows all of us in the industry to do stuff.
Exactly.
But was there conversations about that in the beginning, about like, oh, what if we're competing against the same thing? Or was it just so cut and dry that you're not going to, like, what was the official arrangement? Because I'm sure this must have come up at some point in the conversation.
Yeah, they would have wanted just to shake hands, and it would have been more than enough, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
it's
we needed
Italian business model right there. I'm very familiar.
Italian and Spanish.
And Spanish.
Very similar. Yeah, very similar in that. So yes, we did have some lawyers in place crafting an NDA. So there are some non-competition rules. Also because we were attending their meetings, and then they came over to Italy. So, a few months later, so we did the same thing in our offices. So they were attending our meetings. So they were looking at the names of our clients and the challenges that we had with them. So everybody could have potentially used that challenge against each other. But I mean, that was not even conceivable, you know, but still we needed to sign something, so we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to sign something. So,
Yes.
Miriam, you got to go sit in Italy.
Yeah, I did.
Nice. Tell us about that.
We did. I did. I was joined by my colleague Bea, that she is the team lead at Kobalt Languages, and we were to Genoa for 3 days. I think it was in May last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, we got to meet the whole Creative Words team, all the project managers, the internal linguists, and so on and so forth. And also, we, as Daniela was mentioning, we were able to attend their internal meetings regarding OKRs, the internal department meetings as well. So and we also had time, Daniela and I, to meet like privately to discuss some operation management stuff. Because even that this is something that came up really early when we were discussing about this exchange, that we have the same role, but we do plenty different things in our own companies. So that was one thing that we wanted also to share among between us, that we have the same role, but we do completely different things.
What were some of the things? And I'm sorry, I'm addicted to shameless plugs. But you mentioned OKRs, and I've got to I've got to let you guys know out there that we have.
I did that on purpose.
Yes, thank you. Thank
No
you for
way.
setting me up to set Daniela up here. We actually
no.
have a great e-learning course on nimsy.com. So if you're a Nimsy partner, Nimsy subscriber, which you should be, if you're not, then reach out and we'll get you all set up. But we have a great e-learning course on OKR methodology, and I won't make you all watch the video right now, but
please.
go check it out. It's a seven lessons, and you can learn everything you want to know about OKR methodology on that. But now, yeah, back to the actual conversation here. What were some of so, I've heard you guys both say that it was productive and you learned a lot. It was kind of mind-opening to understand, even though we have the same roles, we're not necessarily working on the same things. What were some of the tangible things that you took away from it? Like what's like 1, 2, or 3 maximum key learnings that you had leaving or finishing? I don't even want to say leaving or finishing because the cooperation is ongoing, but having had this experience, what are a couple key learning points that you guys have had? Gals have had.
In our case, it was actually OKRs, because we were using OKRs before, but the way that they had it implemented the OKRs and the meetings that were taken place after, in the follow-up sessions, we were doing that in another way that was not very effective for us. So having the chance to see how they were using OKRs made us improve our own.
Nice.
So that's one thing that we took from the exchange, for sure.
So that's an actual tangible thing that you guys were able to walk away with. And Daniela, from the Creative Words side?
Yeah, in our case, we took the way they onboard new people to the team, and the welcome package that they sent out to the team was so straightforward, so to the point. We had all sorts of information in 10 different emails. So whenever somebody new came to Creative Words, we would send 10 different emails with all the information about Creative Words, but we would always forget something.
Yep.
So, yeah, so they showed us what they do, the presentation that they do, and we took that as an example, and we implemented that in whenever there's a new person coming into Creative Words now. And it was really, it's not as nice as the presentation that they have, but I did my best. I tried to do the same. I stole that.
So two important things. There is no stealing. There's learning from each other, right? And 2 important things, the OKRs, which I'm not an OKR guy. I'm a KPI guy, right? Same thing, right? Data-driven management, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, no, not the same thing, Tucker. How dare you? How dare you? I'm going to say it's intended to solve the same challenge, right?
Yes, totally.
So I'm a big proponent of that. I'm talking about it all the time. The employee management, employee onboarding is also something super important that, let's be real, most companies out there do a less than excellent job on this, and I'm pointing at myself here too, here at NIMSY Insights, because it's hard to keep up with that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things that when you onboard new employees, that first week, you're setting the first impression
Yes,
of the experience that they're going to have working for you. So it's
Exactly.
kind of important to get those things.
it
So
is.
moving on to, so we talked about the value that you guys have gotten personally. You've talked about the value that you bring back to your respective companies after engaging in this. Talk to me about the value for your clients. Like how do your clients, and this is kind of a more of an abstract thing because I'm
Mhm.
guessing a lot of your clients don't even realize that this is happening. But ultimately, as service providers, as language service providers, it's our goal to add value to our clients. So, how have your clients been able to benefit from this exchange program?
In our case, maybe we were able to see firsthand the way they automate things, because we have some automations also in place, but being able to see how they have some sort of other automations that make them be much more fast in the way they respond to client requests. That's something that we can also, well, that we did also implement it or try to change in the way that we were working. So that impacts directly in the client's experience. I mean,
Clients love their automations, right?
exactly,
It's not even a
exactly.
nice to have anymore. It's kind of like if you don't have at least partially automated processes, then you're not getting in the door with a lot of clients. Why would they talk to you?
Exactly. So it was good for us to see the way that they had some automations implemented there, and that translates directly into a better user experience for our clients for sure.
Nice, super important. Daniela, top that.
Yeah, well, it's hard to top that. I know that already. In our case, it was more of a learning experience of the point of view of an LSP. I mean, we're kind of the same size company, but with a very different client base.
Mhm.
So in our case, it was really, really interesting to see how they cope with lots of data customers who are from Spain, especially. So very local. So the way they treat them is different from the way we work with our international clients, where for a big part also MLBs. So we learned that and we used that in a way to get more data customers back in Italy. So sort of seeing the way they deal with those customers was really, really interesting. And the conversations that they have initially in the conversation and all the way they can change the workflows with them and they can speak to them directly. Instead, we often have to go through an MLV, and it's a bit blocking sometimes. So definitely that was really, really valuable.
Yeah, that's a really important topic that I talk a lot about. Perhaps not publicly, but here at NIMSY we have the office hours, and
Yes.
we're very engaged with our clients. And a topic that frequently comes up is how do I, talking to LSPs that traditionally have gone through an MLV, a multiple language vendor, in order
Mhm.
to get that work. And you get to a certain point, a certain size, where it's like we need to get more direct clients. And it's tricky. It's a tricky thing because those direct clients are your clients, right? There's
Mhm.
the MLV's client. So it's a tricky thing to do.
It is.
What has been your guys' experience doing that? I know I'm getting a little off topic here, but it's an interesting topic.
Uh, well, we're not stealing our clients, so
Well,
we try
of
to
course,
avoid
of course.
that.
Don't say any. Your clients might be watching, right? So don't say
No, no,
anything
no,
too
but even
transparent.
going more local to some Italian customers also in the area. I mean, that was something that we hadn't really tackled before,
Hmm.
but their client base is very local too. So even that flavor, working with clients that share with you the same city, for
Mm.
example, I mean, we could bond more, we could create more, well, more valuable relationships from the start also because of this reason. So yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't go to MLB. I know.
You're not working with MLVs, Myriam?
We try not, we try not to. I mean, we have direct clients, and we have also a database of freelancers. So
oh, nice.
That's the way.
So that, I mean, that's another thing with this, spirit of co-opetition in our industry. When I say, I made the comment earlier in the show here that we're a very fragmented niche industry, and that's why a lot of companies don't compete with each other, really. And when I say that, just to clarify for people listening, it's fragmented in multiple ways. My partner says this is an industry. It's not fragmented. It's pulverized, actually, and it's fragmented in the type of clients that you go after. It's fragmented in the industries that you operate in. It's fragmented in how you operate your supply chain, because we're a very supply chain driven industry. It's fragmented in the languages, of course, that you specialize in. And there's just so many different factors that it's very rare, especially at the mid to smaller level LSPs, that you're actually competing with anybody. Once you get to the big guys, you got the We Localizes competing with the Line Bridges and the Transperfects. And, they see each other a lot in competitive bid situations.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Kind of protects you guys. So moving forward, what are the next steps? So the exchange has been a success so far, and that's why we're talking today. I remember, I think, talking to you, Daniela, a few months ago, and I said, yeah, let's see how this goes. And
Yes.
If it goes well, let's write an article and let's do a live stream about it so that we can talk about it. So that's the fact that we're here and I have an article in front of me tells me that it's been successful so far. Is this something that's going to be ongoing, or is this wrapping up? What is it looking like? What does the future have to hold?
I don't know how much we can disclose.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yes, it's going on for sure.
Yeah.
For this year, we have something else in mind that our companies together will be doing. And yeah, I don't know, Myriam, should we? I don't know.
Ooh,
Well, we can say that
I'm not going to put you on the spot. I don't want to get anybody in trouble here.
No.
I'm sure that what we can share is that the format is going to be different from what we did last year. So it's going to be something different.
Yeah.
Any plans to do like a lower level exchange, like have project managers talking to each other rather than just, the senior level, which I think is super important. But is it any plan to get like project managers doing an exchange, or account managers or sales or anything like that? Or is it, you think the value is to be had at the ops leader level?
I think all levels within the organizations would benefit from this. And even when we were in Barcelona and when you were in Geneva, we sort of made sure that even with calls between our community manager, vendor manager, and your vendor manager, there were some phone calls happening with us being there still in Barcelona. So we kind of, it was not in person, but still it was within the NDA, umbrella. So it's always an ongoing sharing of information between different team members. So definitely, depending on what the next steps will be and what the focus will be for this year, maybe different people will be taking part of this. Yeah, definitely.
Nice. So going on into the future. So my last question here, and thank you to everybody in chat. I've been trying to monitor the chat here if there's any questions, but I think it's just mostly people joking around over there, which I prefer. But I'll take one last look if there's any questions. While I'm doing that, the last question I have is practically for people that may be listening to this or watching it live even. What advice would you have for other LSPs out there who are interested, like how to get started on this? What are some lessons learned? Any advice that either of you have for other language services providers to start such an exchange program or such a collaboration?
I would say that they need to find an LSP that share this idea of competition. I mean, and that they go all for it. I mean, that they leave all this idea that they are competing behind, and be open, and be and yeah, be open, and be ready to share everything. I mean, don't be afraid of sharing everything from your company.
Yeah, don't hold
Because
back.
exactly,
Kind of defeats the whole purpose, right? If
exactly.
you're not going to be fully transparent. Danielle?
Yeah, definitely. The trust is the first thing, and you need to probably find someone who's sort of like you. Also, well, we already said that it's in terms of size, that's helpful. In terms of roles as well, like I am an operations manager, Myriam is an operations manager. So it was also good to match the roles in our case. And I think it's really, really useful because, like Myriam said, we do things, many different things. Eventually, we get to the same different challenges. So it's still good if you can match the roles and bring them together. But yeah, definitely trust and don't be afraid to do anything. And it's good. You get to travel a little bit more, and
I mean,
it's
let's
not
be
bad.
real. For those of us that did exchange programs in school, like I was talking about,
It's
let's be
super
real.
cool.
That was why we did it, right? Because not because we wanted to learn in another language, but because we wanted to eat the food and walk the streets of another country.
Yeah,
So that is a nice plus as well.
it is.
I think it's worth mentioning.
Definitely.
So before we head out today, I have just one message here. I wanted to incorporate this into the thing today because Diego sent his lieutenant here to talk to us about the program, but I wanted to put Diego on the spot without letting him know and he can tell us all a little bit about creative words, collaboration. I don't have one from Kobalt yet, Myriam,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I'll let Diego tell you about the collaboration with Nimsy Insights.
Hello, everybody. My name is Diego, and I'm the CEO of Creative Words. We are a single language company based in Italy. We are working with Nimsy for a year now, and we are really happy of this cooperation. Office hours in particular were really good to us, and for many, many different reasons. We've talked a lot with Tucker on many organizational pain points that we had and that we solved. Thank you, Tucker. And Renato's always some good advice on many different things. Of course, Gabriel was really helpful for us. We had at some point problems with project management, and we need to identify KPIs for them, and we needed to find solutions. And Gabriel was really good in helping us. And one of the occasions where Tucker was really helpful was for an important RFQ that we had to send, and it was really helpful. On other occasions, I talked with Renato about some hiring decisions that we had to take, and thanks to Renato, we found the right person and the right solution for us, and that was really helpful for us. With Joseph also, we've been talking with him recently on selling and sales proposals that we had to make, and that was really also helpful. And so I would advise working with Nimsy to everybody wanting to grow, because growth is what we have achieved thanks to Nimsy team.
Thank you, Diego. And that was we've been working together way longer than a year. And it's nice to see our video production value has increased since then. I think there was so much background noise, we just slapped some music on the background to hopefully cover that up. But don't just go check out Nimsy Insights. You can go check out Nimsy Insights, or just nimsy.com. That's NIMDZI.com. You can also check out Creative Words at creative-words.com. and Kobalt Languages at www.kobaltlanguages.com if you'd like to see anything more about the companies that we've been featuring today. So with that, ladies, any last words before I start wrapping this up here today?
Well, we'll be speaking about this also at Gala Dublin.
That's right.
Together. So
gotta
maybe
plug
if you're
that.
coming to Gala, we're going to be sharing more about what's next for sure.
So for those of you that aren't aware, Gala is happening in Dublin. See if I can fill it up on time here. What are the dates on that, ladies?
It's mid-March. I don't remember.
Yeah,
It's
it starts on the
12th through the 15th.
15th.
Yes.
In Dublin, Ireland. And Gala is a great industry conference for those of you that don't know. If you're in the area, or heck, if you just want to visit Dublin, go register for Gala Dublin, March 12th through 15th, I believe. We will be speaking as well at, I think, Sarah Hickey and Rosemary Hines from the NIMSY Insights team is going to be speaking over there as well. So go get your tickets, everybody. And with that, I will start taking us out today. Once again, my name has been is still Tucker Johnson. I'm the host of NIMSY Live. We hope that you enjoyed this NIMSY Live experience with us today. You can join us next time, and I believe the first week of February, when we will be having more awesome conversations that I really should have remembered what they were so I could plug them better. But we do have some on the calendar. Go follow NIMSY Insights on LinkedIn, and you'll be notified when we go live or when we schedule new things. Thank you to everybody over in the chat today. It's been fun. It's been fun to read your chats and people joking around. So thank you everybody for participating in chats. Lastly, I appreciate our guests today, Daniela D'Amato from Creative Words, Myriam Garcia from Kobalt Languages. I appreciate all of my colleagues here at NIMSY Insights because they're the ones doing the hard work so that I can have these fun conversations online. I appreciate everybody that in our industry that's filling out research for NIMSY Insights and sharing their insights with the rest of the industry. Hint, hint, the NIMSY 100 survey is now open, so if your company wants to be featured on the NIMSY 100 this year, then make sure that you fill out that survey. You can find it over on our social media channels if you need a link to that. And like I said, lastly, I appreciate the audience for the engaging conversation in chats. Everybody who left comments and questions, and especially criticisms, are always welcome. And with that, I look forward to next time, and I hope everybody has an excellent day. Cheers.